Hi! If you're new to our channel, I'm Sarah and this is Eli. Today we're going to be making some rhubarb dessert. I wanted to show you our rhubarb plant because it's starting to come up. It's about the end of April and come May we're going to have some rhubarb on it. But don't worry, we have plenty in our freezer from last year, so let's get started. I'm getting ready to make my rhubarb dessert, and one of the most important ingredients in my recipe is the powdered sugar. So I went ahead and took out my powdered sugar, otherwise known as confectioner's sugar or icing sugar, and I realized that although my jar looked full, it was just coated on the outside, and really there's no powdered sugar left inside. Rather than just scrap this recipe, I figured what a better time to show you that you can make your own powdered sugar. To make powdered sugar, you really only need one ingredient, especially if you're baking a recipe. That one ingredient, sugar. That powdered sugar you buy from the store, confectioner sugar, is made with regular white sugar. But if you use a different type of sugar, like sugar in the raw or something of that variety, or coconut sugar, you can use that too. You're just not going to have that white color. If you're making powdered sugar straight for your recipe, all you want to do is add half the amount of regular sugar as you would powdered sugar. So my recipe calls for 5 tablespoons of powdered sugar, and I'm going to use 2.5 tablespoons of regular sugar. And I'm just going ahead and I'm chopping it up in my food processor. So the process I'm doing is just making the granules of sugar finer so it's like powdered sugar. That's all it is. If you don't have an electric food processor, a blender or a coffee grinder would work great as well. If you want to make powdered sugar or confectioner's sugar to store, I suggest for every cup of regular sugar you also add 1 teaspoon of cornstarch or arrowroot powder, and that'll keep it from clumping when you store it. You can see the sugar here is coming out the top. I made sure that I used my most sealed food processor, but even so I have a few cracks in this one, so you can see the sugar kind of coming out into the air, causing almost a smoke. I can tell my powdered sugar is getting closer to being finished because it stopped making that noise of the sugar jumping around inside the container. So I know the granules are breaking up a little bit more and becoming a little bit finer. Alright, so as you can see, I now have that powdered sugar, confectioner's sugar consistency, and it's all ready for my recipe. If I was making this in a large batch to store, for every original cup of sugar, I would add a teaspoon of cornstarch or arrowroot powder to keep it from clumping. I might also sift it to get rid of some of the big clumps of sugar that got missed. Now I can get going on my rhubarb bars. I'm adding that homemade powdered confectioner's sugar that we made. Got my crust all mixed up and ready to bake. So I went ahead and I mixed some eggs, sugar, flour, and salt together, a little pinch of salt, and I'm gonna add some baking powder so I get a little rise out of it. So I went ahead and I thawed my rhubarb from the freezer overnight, so it thawed out nicely. I did dump a little bit of the juice out because too much juice is gonna make my dessert kind of runny, and we usually eat it with a spoon or a fork anyways, which is fine, but it doesn't really get that solid texture, so I dumped a little bit of the juice off. If I were using fresh rhubarb, this wouldn't happen. Just kind of want to fold in the rhubarb. Once I've got it all folded in, I'm going to go ahead and put it right on top of my pre-baked crust. So rhubarb is quite sour, so I did add quite a bit of sugar to kind of counteract how sour it is. Alright, it's all ready to go in the oven. I'm gonna let my rhubarb dessert bake for 30 to 40 minutes until the eggs are cooked. Alright, so I pulled the rhubarb dessert out of the oven. The top is good and crispy, the eggs cooked, so it is ready to eat. If you want, you could put some powdered sugar on top because that always makes it look pretty, but just an added bonus. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed baking with me today. I hope you're growing lots of rhubarb, and if you don't have things, you're finding new ways to make or recreate them. Have a great day, and glad you got to see me again. Bye guys.